Hello, this is Shannon Price, the Mind Mechanic, helping you navigate your life. Welcome and thanks for tuning into today's podcast. My goal in life is to change the way people see and treat themselves, to educate, empower, and evolve. I've dedicated a huge portion of my life to help each person become the very best version of who they are, one step at a time, and to teach them how to continue to do this for life. You and I have one thing in common. We want to constantly improve our lives and be the very best version of ourselves. But many people have lived their lives pretty much the same way for a very long time. Stuck. Yes, stuck. But you are capable of making the biggest transformation of your life. You are capable of becoming unstuck. So if you consider all those ways that we have made ourselves feel stuck, becoming unstuck is just a change in perspective, a change of mindset, and a change of behavior. How would it feel if you just couldn't find that feeling of anxiety or fear any longer because you know how to control it and you know how to take charge? What is it that you struggle with internally that causes that external anxiety and emotion, or those actions that you just wish would stop? Well, I know how to help you help yourself. And I know how to help you make it stop once and for all. What if you could spend just a little time with me to learn how to do that for the rest of your life? So today's podcast is one that is a question for you. The question is, how do you sleep? Do you sleep soundly? Restless? Do you get up after only a couple of hours of sleep, but you're not sure why? Do you dream? Do you dream vividly? Do you remember dreams? So, have you ever wished that there could be a magical cure? I'm talking about a straightforward solution or a strategy or formula that quickly solves problems like this, that you can use to transform your whole life. Well, some might say that such a solution doesn't really exist and the very idea is just unimaginable. Well, guess what? Ask yourself this. As someone who consistently works with people who need to know how to make changes to solve problems quickly and who truly desire to make those changes happen for life, I can tell you with confidence and complete certainty that this strategy does in fact exist. So, like I said, ask yourself this. Have you ever thought to yourself, well, getting sleep is more important than ... Here's a little story for you. There once was a woman who described sleep as a waste of time. Now, I'm sure you've all heard someone say that. I'll sleep, but I'm dead, right? It's a waste of time. The hours that she was spending asleep, which really weren't very many, were hours that she thought, well, maybe I can just spend getting this work done. I need to get this work done. Lately, I've spoken to a lot of people who are actually losing sleep. Not voluntarily, but due to maybe concerns and worries keeping them awake, or other reasons that they just can't stay asleep through the night, or they just don't sleep soundly. While that's clearly understandable, and especially now in our current situation globally, it really isn't helpful to know that. It really doesn't matter what might happen tomorrow that you need to prepare for, because the best preparation will always be a night of rest. It doesn't matter how the future looks. You're not going to help change it by laying awake at night. It's just going to be worse. And it also doesn't matter what others are doing or saying, because consistently and constantly thinking about them won't change their behavior either. So the only input we have into how tomorrow goes is to make sure we arrive there at our best. It's our sleep that enables us to deal with life's unexpected challenges, not our attempts to predict them, because we can't really predict them. In these uncertain times, well, actually, anytime, there's always one aspect of life that remains incredibly simple and is never, ever, ever going to change. At bedtime, you have nothing else to do but sleep. You have no jobs to take care of, no puzzles to solve. Sleep is your personal recharge time. Do not sacrifice that for anything. All those other things can wait. Give yourself permission to leave all of that until tomorrow and sleep now so you can do those things tomorrow. If you're like me, sometimes you got to make a list of the stuff that's on your mind before you go to bed. And sometimes when you go to bed, you start thinking of even more stuff that needs to go on that list. Stop. Just stop. It'll be there tomorrow, won't it? Yes, of course it will. And now it's time for you to really focus on resting your brain and your body, refreshing your mind. Why is sleep the most important job that you have? Well, in case you're struggling to work out your most important job to do for the day, and as a result, your mind is spinning and bouncing from one task to the next without completing a single one, and in case you are lying awake at night, just pondering what you need to do tomorrow to try and catch up with all that stuff you didn't manage to get to today, and in case you find yourself unable to switch off at the end of the day because there's still so much to do, understand this. The most important job on your to-do list every single day for the remainder of your life is to get a good night's sleep at the end of each of those days. The amount of rest we get at the end of a working day will dictate how much we actually get done tomorrow. Sleep is the most important task of the day. No matter how busy we are, no matter how busy we become, we must never sacrifice that rest. Here's a comparison. This is your phone battery. So you all have a cell phone. At night when we go to bed, we plug in our cell phone to charge. We don't then open up all the apps, play the music, play some games, watch videos, unless I hope you don't do that when you go to bed. So we allow the phone to rest while it recharges. Hello? We understand that if we close down everything that our phone is doing, all the apps, everything that you're doing, the battery will charge more quickly. If we leave everything running and open, it's going to charge more slowly. And why should our mind be any different? Because, we're very technical. Our minds are very technical. Our brains are very technical. If you have chosen to go to bed to sleep, then your mind absolutely must take that as a signal to switch off everything and let your batteries recharge. Even though our phones can perform just perfectly well with only a small battery charge, in this respect, as humans, we're a lot different. We can't do that. When we reach low battery charges, our functions start to suffer. We fail to process basic things. We need to make sure our charge remains high by starting the day at full power. So you know what I mean by when we fail to process basic things. If we haven't gotten enough rest, really things kind of move slower. Our brains move a little slower. We try to eat and eat and eat for more energy. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. When we reach that low battery charge, you lose a lot of ability to function on the basic level. So what if you actually fall asleep all night, but you still wake up tired? What if your mind isn't fully shutting down, right? And the word unconscious doesn't mean rest, right? So sometimes we might worry that we need to stay vigilant or alert. And as a result, we experience a very shallow sleep state where we wake at the slightest noise. This could be the case if there have been some past experiences or some trouble with maybe break-ins or other reasons to be concerned for security, your home security, your personal security. Perhaps a relative in your home has had a middle of the night emergency medically, or perhaps you have children, or you had children that were small and now they live out of the house, but you're still subconsciously listening for them. If you are the dominant person in the house, sleeping particularly shallow and waking at the slightest noise might be because you consider yourself the night watchman, the security guard of your family and the home, and you're always on alert. This is the night watchman of our mind. We always hear the noises if it's out of place from the norm. Now, a lot of these noises can just be your home settling. You know how houses settle, and you hear the creaks and the thumps and all that stuff. So the unimportance of sleep, that's what some people come to see me. They come to see me about sleeplessness, or why they can't sleep through the night, or why they eat throughout the night because they can't sleep. And a lot of them think sleep it's important, but it's really not very important. It's kind of unimportant. But at the same time, they know they absolutely have to sleep at some point, right? So sometimes they're stressed. Sometimes they're anxious about their inability to sleep. Not that they're stressed or anxious about anything else. But remember, I said a lot of times they're stressed and anxious because of their inability to fall asleep and stay asleep. And if they don't drop straight away off to sleep, they are anxious about knowing or supposedly knowing that they won't sleep at all that night. Okay, what if you just accept that you might not drop off to sleep right away? Most people don't. That's okay. You know, you're probably resting, relaxing, or recharging in some small way. So the burden of having to fall asleep goes away because you're not pushing yourself, stressing yourself about that inability to sleep, because you really can sleep. The more stressed you are about it, the less likely you are to fall asleep. If we're not sleeping, we inevitably will end up with foggy mental processes, and the lack of sleep can ultimately lead to, on some people, a psychosis if we take it to the extreme. That's the extreme. But it's worth noting that some weird mental processes, even hallucinations, visual and auditory both, might be caused by too much stress and not enough sleep. I want to talk a little bit about an article I read about the brain and sleep. There was a woman who did a sleep study. This woman thought, just like I said, this is a different woman than what I spoke about before, but this woman thought that she needed to get up at 4 o'clock every morning just to get everything done, get her family ready, get herself ready for her job, and she didn't care if she got 2 hours of sleep or not. She was ready to go, whether she was or wasn't. She was becoming increasingly unhealthy and sort of mentally foggy, but she didn't know why. So she did a sleep study because her doctor told her, "Are you sleeping at night?" "Yes, I sleep 3 hours maybe." "Well, that's not enough." So they did a scan of her brain. And in comparison to her brain scan to the brain scan of a heroin and another drug addict, it looked exactly the same. It was full of holes. It was full of pockmarks. And there were pieces missing. That was enough to scare her and to get some help with her sleep. And lo and behold, in the next few months that passed, those holes in her brain began to heal and began to function more normally. So sleeping, or trying to sleep, I should say, takes up a third of our lives. A third of our lives. And we know that a good night's rest is good for everything from heart health and memory to weight control and especially our immune systems. If you are ever going to find your peace and make the changes that you crave, that you need, you absolutely must decide that what you want is bigger and far more important than any fear, excuse, or limiting belief that prevents you from getting there. The big problem is that most of us have not been educated on how to sleep. That might sound crazy to suggest, but if you don't sleep correctly, how can you stay asleep, or how can you even fall asleep? So here's some things to think about. Do you have a nighttime routine where you settle yourself down for the night? Or do you stay on your phone, you watch TV, and you do all this stuff right away before you go to bed? And that's the last thing you do when you go to bed, is you're checking your phone. Think about it. That's not a good nighttime routine. That's not how to relax and settle yourself down. So are you checking your phone for bedtime messages? It's not a great way to set up your sleep time. All right. Do you play games in bed on your phone or your laptop? Do I need to go over this with you? I don't think so. So stop. I just want to say stop. That's not the time to play games. That's not the time to check your emails and your messages. Here's another thought. Do you live in a cluttered bedroom with stuff just everywhere? Or does it look like a place that's inviting you to relax? Another thought. Do you drink caffeine beverages or eat high sugars and fats, including fruits and nuts, before you go to bed? Not the best way to settle your body down from the inside out. So having good quality sleep will help you with these things. It'll make you have better decision-making processes during the day. It will give you energy for exercise. It'll make you feel like you can exercise and you want to. It will give you a clear head. Of course, we spoke about that. It will give you excellent concentration skills. And here's the best part. It'll put a spring in your step like a Disney princess. I know, seriously. So if I say sweet dreams, I mean it. I see a large percentage of clients who have sleep issues. Are you one of them? If so, please sign up with me for a consultation and let's see how things can change for you quickly. I've actually done this for myself to help myself sleep, and in 2 years, it's worked great. So I want to do the same for you. Contact me at this email. This is my main email address, Control Fitness. Run it together, all one word, the word control and the word fitness. controlfitness@aol.com. Find me at www.sp, that's my initials, Shannon Price, spthemindmechanic.com. Listen for my podcasts on all your favorite listening sites and at my website. If you are looking on Spotify or one of the other sites, please type in Shannon Price, the Mind Mechanic, and they will pop right up for you. And if you're going to my website, type in www.spthemindmechanic.com/podcasts. And now take a nice deep breath. relax, and remember, when you sleep, that's the most important task of your whole day. And thanks for listening, you guys. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.